Redbud is all about the fans. Redbud is about racing.
Last lap, Townley leading. Dungey, Reed right back there as well. And Townley goes down, and Reed is collected with him. Dungey's going to take the lead at Redbud.
Redbud is about historic heights. Redbud, it's all about motocross.
Redbud!
We've reached the halfway mark of the 2011 Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championship. The 40th anniversary tour rolls into the Rockstar Energy Drink Redbud National in Buchanan, Michigan. Hello everyone, Jason Wygant, of course, joined by one of the legends of Redbud, four-time AMA National Champion Jeff Emig for Fuel TV's live continuing coverage of AMA Motocross. Today we'll start our show off with the 250 class, and we'll give you the big picture storylines we're following in that division. How about this? Wil Hahn returning to action. The Kawasaki boys have been dominating this tour so far. Team Geico Honda hopes that bringing Wilbur back into action can break up the Kawasaki sweep we watched through the first 5 rounds of the tour. And one of the Kawasaki guys with perhaps the most momentum today is Blake Baggett, who won our last race 1 week ago, a mile high up in Colorado. We'll see if he can make it 2 in a row today. And a Honda rider did light it up in practice today. It's Justin Barcia, your fastest rider in practice. However, Barcia is continuing to ride with an illness, so we'll see how he performs once the motos get underway in just a few moments. So with those storylines and more to follow, we turn it over to you, Jeff Emig. Let's talk about racing at Redbud, which a lot of the riders consider the crown jewel of this 12-race summer-long tour.
Well, this legendary track started out rain-soaked from yesterday, but as the day has gone on, it's dried out. They really tilled up the track, so a lot of that moisture is starting to come out the top. Track's going to be epic today, but another thing that's going to be high, and that's going to be the temperature and the humidity. And it's only these Redbud fans, that's the motivation that helps you push through on a extremely hot, grueling day like today.
All right, so it should be a great day to both watch and race. For more on that, let's send it down to the starting line with Aaron Bates and a pre-race report.
It's the halfway point for all the rest of these guys, but the one guy that's making his debut this summer, Wil Hahn, returning from injury since Supercross. Wil, what is it like being back, and how are you feeling lining up on the start gate?
I feel good. It's nice to be back and be in the routine of things and just going from there. It's been a long winter / midsummer for me, and I'm just glad to be back at the races.
Great to see you back. And a guy that had a rough weekend last weekend, your worst outing yet, fifth overall last weekend, Tyla. How do you rebound from that and come out strong today?
Well, I've been doing the work during the week and training down in Florida with Ryan and Alden, and things have been going good during the week, and love coming out of Redbud. It's one of my favorite tracks on the circuit, and can really push hard. It gets rough, get some good bumps, so looking forward to being up front racing for the win.
The halfway point, Tyla Rattray sitting second overall in the standings, and Ryan Sipes making your way back from an injury as well. You had 10th overall in practice today. How is this track faring for you?
In practice, it was gnarly. It was just a mud hole, basically, but not a lot of lines, and it was nasty. It was tough to do, but I'm sure the track crew's got it in good shape, and looking to just get a good start and get out there and let it rip.
Well, Blake Baggett of the 57 is a man everyone's talking about. He's won 3 races this year, but he does not have the series points lead because there is a whole bunch of very consistent and very talented riders in this 250 class. And we're going to rack them all up and go racing in our first moto at Redbud when we return to Fuel TV. Fuel TV's coverage of the Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championship is brought to you by Kawasaki and the 2012 KX450F. Fully equipped and race ready. Welcome back. It is the Rockstar Energy Drink National at Redbud in Buchanan, Michigan. We'll give you the breakdown of how we will go racing today. 250 class will race first this afternoon, a little different than usual. But as usual, 2 motos with 40 riders in each, and in 30 minutes plus 2 laps is the duration. We'll combine those 2 races into 1 overall score at the end of the afternoon, and if we have a tie, the Moto 2 result is the tiebreaker. So that's the format. Here is the racetrack as we present to you our Kawasaki track map. Jeff, explain Redbud.
Well, legendary start here coming around. Tim Ritchie just gets the tractors out and tills this thing up. He built some huge jumps here, this Thor jump, this uphill double. Of course, we've got this a downhill. That's a real off-camber section down through there. then you kind of come back to the other side of the track, and huge tabletop here through the Lucas Oil whoop section, up over the Rockstar Laraco's Leap at this point, and onto the finish line. And it took, our fastest lap time was by Justin Barcia, 2:19.4.
So Barcia on the 17 will be one of the riders we're watching, but our one to watch for this moto is Wil Hahn. Originally from Kansas, now lives in Texas. First race of the year after breaking his back and then his shoulder in separate crashes this year, Jeff. So let's talk about Wil Hahn a little bit.
He was really up to speed when we started the year off, up in January.
Yep.
Like you said, those 2 really bad crashes set him back, but I know what type of determination Wil Hahn has and how hard he works. And he came out today, and I was pretty impressed. You know, qualifying effort in the first round was a little bit better than what he ended up 18th overall, but inside of the first practice, he was inside of the top 10 even. So we'll see if he can get his feet wet here, try to stay clean, give himself a good start, and notch a finish. And like I always say, when you're coming back from an injury, it's really important that you ride every lap of the race. You know, you can't have any more setbacks. You're already trying to dig yourself out of a hole to begin with.
Now he is finally back, but that team, Geico Honda, has been beset by injuries. In fact, Eli Tomac, one of their top riders, went down in practice and is not on the gate right now. I'll have an update on him later. Let's go racing in Moto 1. And how about the Geico Hondas? Up front early on, that's where they like to be. It's the 17 of Barcia, who, as we mentioned at the top of our show, he was the fastest rider in practice. Barcia going to lead him off the big ski jump, and that's classic Justin Barcia, throwing the leg off, throwing the bike sideways, having fun. Yeah, Barcia is fired up, fastest qualifier here today. He knows you get to start, throw the roost on everybody behind you. But it was Wil Hahn, the 31, who now sets in 4th. I think that's actually, he's been placed by his teammate, Lance Vincent, with another good start. Yeah, I thought Wil Hahn was going to grab that around the outside, but man, Barcia, he is on fire here today on 4th of July weekend. Yeah, but so is Ryan Sipes on the 25, the DNA Shred Sticks Star Racing Yamaha. And he's another rider that was coming back from injury. Scored his first points of the year just a week ago in Colorado. He said he felt a little rusty, but today, obviously, he is on the gas. And how treacherous is this course on the first lap as Barcia and Sipes go at it? Well, and the track has been worked on. It's not exactly like it was at the end of practice, but you can see just how soft those off cameras are, and they fight for that one main rut because there's no other rut to go in. If you go wide on that off camera, you could drop all the way down to the flats and have to come back around. But you can really see just how soft the track is in certain spots. Right here, it's dry and hard. With some of those lower sections, while that moisture is, it's going to be really tough here until some lines get grooved in. That is Lance Vincent in 3rd of the number 245. Also a Geico Power Sports Honda rider. He is a replacement rider because so many members of that team are out injured. Blake Wharton, another Texan, is out with a shoulder injury. So even with Wil Hahn back, they still need Vincent out there. And here comes the 15. Dean Wilson, he's your series point leader. That's why he's got the red number plate. And he's going to the inside on Vincent. Makes the move. Oh, they're coming up this huge tabletop. Vincent comes up just a tad short as Wilson pushes him wide. And here we come to Laraco's Leap. And with all this moisture in the track here today, and as this gets rougher, I doubt we're going to see any 250 jump all the way to that 3rd jump right there. Man, Vincent, only the 450s can have the power for that. I didn't want to cut you off there, but remember last week, Vincent and Dean Wilson were battling it out in the 2nd moto, picking up right where they left off. Look at Vincent trying to get Wilson back. He didn't care that he's a series points leader. He wants the spot. Well, I love the fire. Woo! And then, whoa, he's got to make a turn sometime. He stood it up mid-turn there. And Wil Hahn is right behind him. Jeff, you noticed that Hahn had the good start. There he is in the 31 in the yellow gear on the red bike. So he was there. There's the 57 of Baggett, and then the 35 of Kyle Cunningham. So a bunch of the favorites are up front early, except Tyla Rattray, who is 17th. So Lance Vincent might be done with this team after a couple more weeks. They might bring him to Millville. That could be it, but he's going to make a name for himself and maybe hold on to a ride with them or someone else if he continues to ride this fast, challenging Wilson. He is 4th, and here comes Wil Hahn on the outside, the 31, trying to take it away from his temporary teammate. Yeah, you can see Hahn here. Look how much mud is on the front of his bike and all that, and it's like, come back into this championship after we already have 5 races in the book. All the other riders have their bikes dialed in, their bodies are fit and set, and
Oh, look at that. Around
Baggett.
the outside, Baggett makes the move.
Wow. Well, you were saying, Jeff, on the first lap, as Blake Baggett on the 57, the Kawasaki gets around Hahn. There's one good line in this section, but as this race goes on, did the line start to open up finally? On lap 2, looks like Baggett found something else that he could make work.
Well, I thought the track was pretty dry in some spots that it had really worked in nicely, like up here.
Yeah.
But in those lower sections, as we've seen, when you're behind another rider, look how much mud is on the front of Baggett. We've seen him pull a tear off right after he made that pass on Hahn. But, I mean, the way I'm looking at it is that if you're a guy like Rattray and some of these guys that have started in the back, even Baggett, who's trying to work his way up to the lead, he could go through all of those tear-offs. I mean, probably started with 21 or 28 tear-offs. But once you pass that, which he could easily pull that many in the first half of the race if he doesn't conserve on those. So as a rider, you have to be really precise. You have to not follow the rider in front of you. Sometimes that means taking an alternate line, and sometimes that's not the hot line. So it's, you know, for Baggett to be putting on this type of effort and having the lap times that he is, which he comes by the finish line here right now, Baggett just logs in a 2:19. Barcia out front though with a 2:15 flat. He was 4 seconds faster that lap than Baggett, who sets him 5th.
Yeah, but if anyone knows how to conserve on the goggle tear-off sheets and work his way through traffic, it is Baggett, who has done most of his damage this year, 3 overall wins, coming through traffic. So he's got experience in this situation. He's got Kyle Cunningham behind him, and Wil Hahn has actually dropped a couple of spots this last time around. There is Cunningham. Then it's going to be Darren Durham on the Honda, the red bike, coming through next.
Yeah, see, for Hahn, all these riders are up to speed, and you can practice and you can test and you can do all your training and all that, but it's just not the same as race conditions. And the intensity that these riders are able to bring to the race is even more than what they would in practice or even at home on the test tracks and practice tracks. So that's kind of what you're seeing is that, Vincent
gets hung up, so that's another spot for Baggett, and Baggett is also going after his teammate Wilson.
That inside line, Jason, it must be a bottomless pit of quicksand as you come down these off cameras. Watch how the bike just stops right there, and the bike will keep digging in, the tire will keep digging in, and then the bottom of the chassis, the foot pegs, and the back of the swing arm, all that will drag in the mud.
There is Wilson. Now, we've mentioned it a few times. Wilson, your series leader, has yet to win a race this year. And if you look at the laps led chart, Baggett has won 3 races, and he has led 44 laps. Wilson has won 0 races, and he has led 43. So it's actually amazing that Wilson has the points lead and has led about as many laps as anyone and has managed to somehow not win an overall. Take us through this section here, Jeff.
Yeah, here comes Wilson, and watch, he gets into that inside line, and watch what Vincent does. His weight gets a little bit to his left, and he's just right there on that balance point. And when he comes into that sloppy mud, he was really fortunate that he didn't have a bad fall like Rattray had, if you remember from the broadcast last year.
Yeah.
That was the same turn where he came in and went over the bars and just stuffed it, just penciled himself in head first.
There you see the stat at the bottom of the screen. That's why Wilson's in the points lead. 4 times he has been the runner-up this year, so he scored a lot of points in each round, but he would love to get a win, especially over this guy, Wilson. And Barcia throws it away. Literally, he has come off of the bike, and that was a hard hit. He's not just in pain, but he is mad at himself for that one because he was pulling away at a 6-second lead just a few laps in, and it's all gone now.
Yeah, Justin has been trying so hard. He was out there putting in the best laps, better than anyone. You see right there that trying to get a hold of the clutch and throttle at once, the bike almost gets away from him, but he still turned a 2:15 last lap around. The next fastest lap time was a 2:17 of Sipes. Now watch when he comes over here, there's a little single, and you're kind of trying to scrub it a little bit, keep your weight down, and watch the front wheel just tucked. It was a little hard spot and then a soft spot after it. Front tire lost traction, knifed it in. He took a pretty hard hit to the chest. No doubt that that knocked a bit of wind out of him, and then you can see him pounding the mud in frustration, knowing that he just gave up the lead when he had a great opportunity to win.
Well, that's how quickly things change in this sport. A few weeks ago, Ryan Sipes couldn't get anything to go his way. He has now been handed the lead, and he's got a couple Kawasaki's trying to chase him down.
Every rider is measured by victory.
Ryan Sipes digging his way through the mud of Redbud. It's the Rockstar Energy Drink National, part of the Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championship. Oh, Sipes almost went down. He was second earlier in this race. The leader, Justin Barcia, crashed in a similar scenario to that. And that's what has put Sipes up front. And it's a nice lead. He's got 5.9 seconds over Dean Wilson and Blake Baggett. Here they come.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to have to pick it up because last lap around, Wilson and Baggett were at 2:17s. And Sipes, who was a 2:17 earlier, had a 2:20 last lap around. So hopefully for the Yamaha boys, he picked it up. But no doubt that Ryan Sipes growing up not far from here in Kentucky.
Yeah.
You know, he's ridden in these type of conditions where it's pretty wet and sloppy and muddy.
Baggett trying an outside line to get around his teammate Wilson. And these two used to battle quite a bit when they were growing up through the amateur ranks. Now they're teammates. I think things have cooled off a bit. I don't know if they're the best buds, but they get along well enough considering that they're battling like this week in and week out. Here it is again. Baggett going after Wilson for the #2 spot.
Well, and if you're Wilson, you hear your teammate back there. You feel him. You sense when he's next to you. You know, these bikes, the sound that they have, I mean, it's got to feel like he's riding up on his back fender. And you can see Baggett is not afraid to just stay right in the roost and just pepper him with intensity right now.
Headed toward that big ski jump. This is the area where Barcia fell a lap ago. They're going to jump off, jump back down. Here's that section where Barcia crashed. They both managed to keep it on two wheels, and for the moment, Baggett's not looking for a way around Wilson, although I think that's going to change real quick. Oh, Matt Lemoyne, one of our top privateers out here. Tough luck for the kid from Texas, has crashed out of this moto apparently.
Doesn't look like that there was any mud on his grips on the handlebars. That's what I was looking for, to see if it was all piled up on there. So either that or he fell in a dry spot of the track, or, you know, crashed in a dry spot. But
well, Jeff, we're seeing how different these sections are. Some muddy, some dry. How hard is it to set the bike up for such a variety of soil? This is the area where Baggett's made passes throughout this moto, not able to make it work this time. Now he's going to try another new line here on the outside again. And this time he gets to the inside. Wilson not going to make it easy. They run into each other.
Yeah, Dean Wilson was committed to staying in it, forcing Baggett into the inside there. Wilson just really muscling his way from the outside. Uh-oh, now Baggett back up the inside. All of a sudden again, Baggett has really drawn some tight lines. Tremendous amount of roost he's taken from his teammate right now, but you can see how much determination Blake Baggett has to get to that #1 spot.
Both throwing the bike sideways. Now they're on to the next side of the course, trying to catch this guy. Ryan Sipes, your leader. Here's the sand whoops, and you can see as they push each other, they are closing on Sipes. It was about a 7-second gap. Now it's 5.5. And they switched lines. Last time around, Wilson was on the inside, Baggett on the outside. Now it's the other way around.
Yeah, you seen Baggett there looking down at the right side of his bike, like his right foot peg area. No doubt that when he stuffed it in there, quite a bit of mud and rock and dirt and everything got stuffed around by the rear brake area. Seems to be fine though now.
Sure does, as he puts more pressure on Wilson. And they're getting around. That's Malcolm Stewart, who has gone a lap down after a crash. And now Sipes is in the picture. So Wilson has an opportunity to not just hold off his teammate, but go after the lead.
Yeah, last lap around, Ryan Sipes went up to a 2:22.
Wow.
So he wanted the pressure and the inexperience at leading out front like that has caused him to get a little bit nervous, maybe not hit his lines right, maybe hit some lap riders. He got into Stewart, some of those guys that were down. But Wilson and Baggett were both at 2:18, and our leader was a 2:22. So a 4-second gain in that one lap.
Well, so Wilson, who we thought might get pushed back to third a lap ago, has now got a shot to go for the lead. And Sipes told me after the race last weekend, after missing a few weeks with injury, that he did get tired. He was willing to admit that. So we'll see if he has the fitness to go the distance and lead these guys all the way around. Not going to be easy the way Wilson's closing in on him.
Well, every other race of this championship, Blake Baggett has won. The first, the third, and the fifth. This is the 6th race, obviously. Baggett has shown that speed-wise that he is the fastest guy out there on any given weekend. And this week, I was putting myself in the position of Dean Wilson. What are you going to do? How are you going to beat somebody that is lap after lap just a couple of clicks faster than you? Okay. Fitness is one of the keys. I do believe that his fitness is there. Dean seems to be able to ride each moto, wide open if he has to, all the way. But he also is, like we just seen in that situation, he did not give up that position.
No.
I thought Baggett had that.
Yep.
Dean just was more aggressive and just stuffed it right in there and did not let Baggett by. And that's what's going to take. It's going to have to be tough.
All right, Aaron is in the pits at Malcolm Stewart, who we saw down earlier. Aaron, what did you got?
A very frustrated Malcolm Stewart. Malcolm, take us through what happened out there.
I crossed like third corner, and I was making my way through the pack, and the bike cut off me in the face of it, like in the middle of the jump, and then it just kept cutting off, and then I cut off. I lost all these positions, and I can't even make it up a corner. So it cuts off. So I don't know. We'll see what we can do next moto.
Tough break for Malcolm Stewart, moto number 1.
All right, so that explains that, not just the crash, but a little problem there with the bike. We go back to the leaders here. Sites, Wilson, Baggett, all in one shot.
Yeah, it sounded like an ignition problem, possibly something to do with fuel pump, stuff like that.
Cross flags are out. We are halfway through this moto, Jeff, and the second half has been where Baggett, who's in third right now, has done his damage. And it looks like Wilson knows that. He's trying to get away from his teammate, and maybe he could put Sipes between them, take advantage.
Sipes last time around was a 220, and Wilson and Baggett were both 219s. Cunningham in fourth is only 6 seconds behind, and he's a 219 also. So even though he's just out of the picture, Sipes' teammate, you know, as this thing keeps going, if Cunningham keeps on this fast pace he's on, and Sipes just a click off of these guys, we could have a 4-rider battle. Little Kawasaki sandwich here.
Well, all year long, Jeff, you've been alluding to the improvement of this Yamaha squad of Star Racing, and you're seeing it right now. They are first and fourth, with the Kawasaki boys second and third. So there's no doubt this team has built some good bikes. They've got good riders, and they are taking on the best team in the business straight up. Baggett going after his teammate straight up now. He's going to try this outside line again.
And it's working for him, but
they're drag racing uphill through the mud, and this time Baggett's got the spot. How will Wilson respond? Can't. No room to try to retaliate. He's going to try this time. Two different ruts.
That's a good line. Nope. Didn't.
Oh. Baggett beat him to the exit, so he's got second. Aaron, what are you hearing on the pro circuit, boys?
Well, guys, as Blake Baggett got up to the start line, he looked at me and he said 102 degrees and just shook his head. He said he's frustrated with this track. He's never rode here before. If you recall, he was injured last year, so this is his first time going around. But you got to take into consideration that Alden Baker has been training Blake Baggett in Florida with these same conditions, and Dean Wilson has been training in California where it's hot but dry heat.
Yeah, that's right. So maybe the humidity training paying off for Baggett. He makes the pass on Wilson and now goes after Sipes for the #1 spot.
You know, I'll be honest with you, I trained all of my career on the West Coast in the dry heat. I grew up in the Midwest where we had a lot of humidity. I don't know whether I was just conditioned for it or what, but I didn't think that it was necessary to train in the humidity of Florida or anything like that. I think you just have to mentally get through it. You have to overcome that, and it's only something in your head, especially at this point in the moto. You're sweating, you're getting hot, you know, you're muddy everywhere, sand's everywhere, and you just have to mentally overcome that.
Well, right now, Baggett's trying to overcome Sipes. This is your battle for the lead, and let's see if they were able to open it up. Now, Wilson is still there in third watching. Time might be limited, though, as Baggett tries to get past Sipes. He might be able to run away. That's what he has done in a bunch of races this year. If he gets in the second half, he's been hard to track back down, but look at Sipes fighting him with everything he's got for the lead.
And Sipes, what composure he has right now. His technique is not broken down. You haven't seen any sense of urgency or any pressure. He's just really nailing his marks, and you can really tell by where his head and shoulders are on the bike. If they're in position and he's using proper technique, that means that he's focused.
Uh-oh. And Baggett, a lot of these tracks or a lot of these sections where it's muddy, it doesn't look like there's ways to make passes. I don't know where he's finding these lines.
Here comes the outside where Baggett made the pass, and it looks a little better that time around, even though he didn't make the pass. To see how he's staying out of the ruts.
And Sipes able to beat him to it, just like Wilson did earlier. But now Sipes hung up on the inside. He's back on the outside, and that's going to give the 57 the lead. And he had to work for that one.
Baggett going outside, 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 and finally making the pass. He had to go 30 feet further.
Sipes going to try to get him back, and Wilson, you'd think, would like to respond, but they're actually opening up a little bit, so time to call it. El Chupacabra has struck again, coming from about 5th to the lead, and now trying to pull away with a huge scrub over that tabletop. Baggett's out front.
Has this ever happened to you?
Well, AMA Pro Motocross Championship coverage continues live on Fuel TV. We're racing the 250 class first today at the Rockstar Energy Drink National at Redbud, and it is Blake Baggett out front on the Kawasaki. Big talk, big sports, big tunes. Daily Habit is the wildest late night party on television, weeknights at 11 Eastern and Pacific. And we're excited about this. Don't miss a very special edition of the Daily Habit right after the race. Jeff Emig, you make an appearance in the Daily Habit. This is good.
We've got a special program coming up just right after this, and you're going to see the best of the best clips from the Daily Habit. There's some great stuff on there that'll knock you out.
So when they want to show the best of the best, they bring Jeff Emig in? Is that what they do? They only roll out the red carpet treatment for you?
Hit the nail on the head right there.
Well, you're a legend and a hero at this track, too. Just honored in all directions. How about this? Ryan Sipes, who was second, is now under pressure from the third-place rider, Dean Wilson. But remember, these two were pretty close to Blake Baggett not that long ago, but Baggett laying down some fast lap time. Once he got the lead, he laid down a 2:16, but these riders are doing 2:19s. So right now, it is a battle for the number 2 spot as Baggett gets away, but Wilson's definitely working Sipes hard. Wilson on the 15, Sipes on the 25.
Yeah, Wilson lost contact there as Baggett caught Sipes, moved into the lead, and now you see Wilson kind of getting it back together right now, but it's got to be frustrating for the 15 here. Dean Wilson, your points leader, and I mean, he's got 20 points over Baggett. But if you keep giving up 3 and 5 points a moto, which 3 is the difference between first and second, 5 between first and third, where he's at right now, only take a few motos, and all of a sudden your points lead's gone. Now, the other rider that's in that equation is one of their other teammates, Tyla Rattray. He had a bad start, but he's up to 5th. He's turning some 221s right now, but he's strong all the way through the motos, and he's about 15 seconds behind 4th right now. And this group here, about another 10 seconds in front of that.
Battling through these sand whoops here. That section of sand is actually modeled after our next race on the tour in Millville, Minnesota at Spring Creek. It has an infamous section of those sandy rollers, so they kind of imported a little model of that. It's not nearly as treacherous, but then again, what other track has this? And the big Larocco's Leap.
Yeah, see, this is Larocco's Leap, but back to those sand whoops here. Those sand whoops at Millville, the difference is that those are actually in a creek, next to the creek, and if you go wide right there, if you get squirrely, you actually end up in Spring Creek. Here, you just, end up off the track in a nice grassy field.
When you're racing in July, sometimes you want to go into the creek. We've seen riders jump in there after the motos, especially when the heat is on like this. Wilson all over Sipes to try to get the second spot, and Justin Barcia is down again. It is a rash of crashes for him the last few weeks, and it's a frustration. It's just painted all over him. He is frustrated probably more than he is injured.
Yeah, 2 motos in a row. If you remember from Colorado last week, the second moto, he had a good start and then a couple of crashes.
Yeah.
Ended up finishing, I think, back around 10th, 9th or 10th. So definitely not what Barcia's looking for, but applaud him for his effort. But, man, sometimes it seems when things just aren't going your way, it just seems like no matter how hard you try, no matter how hard you train and all that stuff, things just happen bad. And on the flip side of that is when it's your time, it just seems like that you can do no wrong.
That's where Blake
Baggett falls.
Yep.
Instead of falling to the right into you, he falls to the left. Those type of things.
I was going to say that seems to be what's happening for Blake Baggett here as he has gotten away from these two. Sipes definitely proving stubborn in this battle for the number 2 spot, though. And really, this is where we expected Sipes to be all season. But after hurting his wrist at round 1, he's back at round 2, knocking himself out at round 3. Pretty solid comeback.
Yeah, and he's still running 220s. He really only had that one. We got the red cross flag. That means a rider is down here after, that could have been where Barcia was down.
Looked like Barcia's bike, yeah.
Uh-oh.
Oh, mistake by Sipes. Wilson trying to take advantage. These are the sand whoops we talked about. Wilson gets through quicker. Sipes going to try to pay him back. Can't make it happen. So Dean Wilson up into second place. And to think he was in second, geez, about 20 minutes ago. But he's had to fight after losing a spot to his teammate Baggett. He's had to get around Sipes. just to get back where he was.
And this group is about 6 seconds behind the leader, just at the top of your screen. Just went over the finish line jump right now. And so Baggett slowed down to a 2:21 this last lap around. And Wilson's at a 2:20, so you never know. He can close this thing up.
Man, he would like to do it. But Mitch Payton, Greg King, all the guys at Monster Pro Circuit Kawasaki are happy. They're running 1-2.
Kawasaki's good time.
Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championship coverage continues on Fuel TV. We are at Redbud, and you know, springtime comes around, the redbud trees begin to bloom, the geranium or rose, or you pick whatever flower you want. That kid, Blake Baggett, beginning to blossom right before our eyes. Let's go back here to Wil Hahn, who started this moto out strong. We're just going to talk about how Baggett was 6th fastest in practice and dominating in the race. Wil Hahn, we're going to make him your Fuel TV 1 to watch. He was one to watch off the start, and then he went backwards, but now he's actually holding his position here in the number 8 spot. Good, solid run.
Yeah, his lap time's great right now, 2:22. You know, not quite as good as Baggett. Well, Baggett just turned to 2:17 again, but basically 2:21, 2:20, 2:22, something like that's pretty good. But you can see at the beginning of the race, I'm pretty sure things started happening really quick for him. And that intensity that I talked about, that when the gate drops, you're just ready to go wide open. Now he's worked himself into it, got a comfortable position, and he's looking at getting a top 10 here in his first race back. All that came from getting a good start, and it's no wonder, because the Geico Honda team, I mean, they have it wired. Barcia, coming into this race, had 5 hole shot of this one, so the team has got 6 hole shots. No other rider has more than 1 besides Barcia. So,
well, Barcia had the whole shot, but also Lance Vincent and Wil Hahn. They were all up there, all the Hondas. But here at the end, Blake Baggett, and this is what I was saying earlier, Jeff, really seeing this kid blossom right in front of us. Yes, he's been fast, you know, as an amateur and even last year, but I don't know if people expected this kind of a tour de force. 3 overall wins already, 5 moto wins, and now headed apparently to another, and doing it again in impressive fashion, riding through the competition.
Blake Baggett looks like the Ryan Villopoto of a few years back, when Ryan was so dominant. Rode for Monster Energy Pro Circuit Kawasaki, won 3 250 titles in a row, and they trained together. They worked with the same trainer, so they spent a lot of time together. I don't know if Baggett has modeled himself, or if that was kind of his guy that he looked at and said, okay, this is how I should ride, or if it's just, there's just a coincidence that they look alike, both kind of the same size, but there's the way that they attack the track and the speed that they have, and the way, you know, their technique and stuff is very similar. And it's also the fact that they're out front dominating. And strong resemblance there.
Same team also that Villopoto came through. Yeah, ride together, train together, and it goes way back. In fact, Villopoto, who we'll see coming up in the 450 class in a moment, is originally from Washington State. So when he needed a place to be able to ride during the winter, as a kid, he would go down to the Baggett's house in Southern California. So there's a long plan that is beginning to come to fruition for both of these guys. And what can you say? No one, again, is able to match the speed of Baggett. When he decides to turn it on, we have not seen anyone able to answer back. Now, a couple of times he's turned it on and crashed himself out of contention. But you were talking earlier, it's kind of difficult to beat a guy when you know you're a few clicks off. What are these guys going to do? Do they got to rough him up? Do they just got to concentrate on their own deal? What do you do when you know a guy's got this kind of speed when he's on?
Yeah, it's, you really have to. I mean, Dean Wilson put up a pretty good fight. I thought he was going to be able to hold it there, but Baggett's just so clean through his turns. He carries so much momentum, and it's just hard to stop a guy who's like that. I mean, he came from outside of the top 5.
And he's got himself another moto win for Blake Baggett, and no answer this time. A good solid run still, though, for Wilson, who will maintain the series point lead with a 2nd. He has been the most consistent rider thus far this year, and that's why he's got the red plate, so nothing to be ashamed of for the Scotsman. 3rd's going to go to Ryan Sipes, back on the podium. What a return to glory after several rough weeks. 0 points scored through the first 4 rounds of the year for Sipes, and now in his 2nd race, back from injury, he is up on the box. So Sipes is back where we expected him to be all along. And here's Wil Hahn one more time, our Fuel TV's 1 to watch. And a solid performance in 8th on the last lap. Jeff, he said the key is to get all the laps in, don't crash out. And that's exactly what he's doing, putting in the laps.
Yeah, it looks fantastic. I mean, that's how you build the foundation for success, is you start to say, okay, this is where I'm at. Now what do I do next moto or next race? How do I keep getting better without having those huge setbacks? This is a good ride for Wil. Awesome. He's got to be happy with that.
Yeah, inside the top 10, and those were two catastrophic injuries he dealt with, a broken back and broken shoulder. So good to see these guys resting up, healing up, and getting back in action. We'll talk to them on the podium when we return.
Critics are calling horror.
Huge crowd on hand here. Independence Day weekend. That's how we do it in the motocross world. It's the Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championship, Rockstar Energy Drink, Red Bud National, right here in Michiana, right on the Michigan-Indiana state line in Red Bud. And great race just completed, our 250 Moto 1. We'll give you the recap. Justin Barcia was checking out early.
Then makes this critical mistake, pounds the mud and the sand, knocked the wind out of himself a bit, but watch him pound the sand right there in frustration. He knows gave up a great opportunity to win a moto.
So that leaves Ryan Sipes the #1 spot. Here comes Blake Baggett. He got around his teammate Dean Wilson. Then he gets around Sipes to take the lead. And we've seen this story before. Once Baggett gets the lead, he's hard to stop. Battle for second is on. Wilson takes advantage of a mistake by Sipes to put his Kawasaki into the runner-up spot.
Yeah, Wilson makes the move here, but nobody could match Blake Baggett, who once again wins another Moto 6 of the season.
Chupacabra strikes again. He's down to the podium with Aaron Bates. Aaron?
He strikes again, indeed. 6th moto win of the season. Blake, when you lined up on that start gate, you were kind of unsure of what to expect from that first moto. Obviously, you're impressed with that outcome. What did you change up mentally in order for that to happen?
You know, I just try to be mental tough as I can. I was every other before this one, and just going to try to do the same thing the next moto. You know, my practice wasn't that good. It's super soft out there, and it is what it is, but I got to give it up to my team, Monster Energy, Pro Circuit, Kawasaki, Thor, Parts Unlimited, Traxxas, Vans, Volcom, everybody, Scott, that's helped me out. Let's go get him this next moto.
Congratulations on a victorious first moto.
I think the nickname is starting to catch on. There's some signs out there in the crowd earlier, and we've even got a t-shirt has been made now celebrating the Chupacabra thing.
What does it mean? Is that the
creature?
Chupacabra there?
Chupacabra. It's a creature that attacks through the night when you're tired, and that's exactly what Blake Baggett has done in the first moto. We'll be right back.
For the past 10 years.
Welcome back to Red Bud 250 Moto 1 in the books. Dean Wilson taking second place. Dean, we saw you make the pass through a section we didn't think could happen through that sand section on Ryan Sipes. How difficult is it for line choice on a track like this?
Oh, it's really difficult. I mean, the ruts are insane. They're just massive, and you know, that struggled in the off camber a little bit. It's just so deep and long, and I actually tipped over like third lap, but I was up quickly. But yeah, the sand roads, I feel like that's my best section with my longer legs, and yeah, I just need to get a good start the next one, and you know, fight for first place this time instead of kind of just letting it go. I'm really gonna push for that one this next one.
Job well done.
Watch the best Kung Fu cult classic films every Saturday only on Fuel TV, late night at 11 Eastern and Pacific. Go to fuel.tv for movie titles. And we are going to go back down to the podium with Aaron Bates, who has our third place finisher, Ryan Sipes. Aaron?
Ryan Sipes scored your first points last weekend in Thunder Valley. You come back, here you are on top of the game with third. You were in the lead there for a while. How did that make you feel with the comeback?
It was good, you know, like all these races coming back, my goal is just get up front and see what happens. You know, ride my best and see what happens, and worked out pretty good that time. I made a few mistakes and let Dean by. You know, Blake and Dean were riding great, but my bike was just great. Off the start, got me up front. I got to thank DNA Shred Sticks, Star Yamaha, Scott for my gear, Saquon, God for keeping me safe, bringing me here, and all these fans, they're awesome.
Great job and a strong performance.
Show you the upcoming events in Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championship Racing on Fuel. Every Thursday night at 10 p.m. Eastern, we have our highlight show. So the highlights of this one coming up July 7th, this Thursday night. We'll have a weekend off, and then we're going to Spring Creek in Millville, Minnesota. You'll see the full section of sand whoops at that famous track. That'll be live at 2 p.m. Eastern time on Saturday, July 16th. Highlight show that Thursday night at 10, and then we're going to Washougal in Washington. And that'll be live at 4 p.m. Eastern time because we're back into the West Coast time zone on July 23rd. So those are your upcoming events on Fuel TV. We'll make it as simple as this. Every first moto of the 450 and 250 class airs live on Fuel TV all season long. So that's what's coming up.
Blake Baggett is a motocross chupacabra. From out of nowhere, he has ran down his competition and disappeared from sight.
Baggett stayed in it on the outside. There he goes.
And he still makes the pass.
His 3 wins in 5 races have made him a rider everyone must fear. Look out for the chupacabra. He's hunting checkered flags.
We're at the halfway mark of the 2011 Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championship. It's the 40th anniversary tour and the Rockstar Energy Drink, Red Bud National in Buchanan, Michigan. Hello everyone, Jason Wygant and Jeff Emig, 4-time AMA National Champion here at Michigan for one of the crown jewels of this series, N-Speed's continuing coverage of the 250 class of AMA Motocross. Let's give you the big picture storylines we're following today. First, it is Blake Baggett coming in with the momentum. He's got 3 victories this year, but inconsistency at the other rounds has left him 3rd in points. But while the Monster Energy Pro Circuit Kawasaki team, including Baggett, tends to dominate this series early, the Geico Honda squad is going to try to strike back today. They're bringing Wil Hahn back into action. We'll see how he can do against the mighty Green Army. And what about Dean Wilson? He is leading the points in this tour through consistency, but the number 15 is yet to take a victory thus far this year. So those are the stories we'll be following. We tossed it over to you, Jeff. Sure, there are lots of big stars to talk about in the 250 class, but the real star of the show today is the track. Red Bud is a special place for everyone in this sport. What's Red Bud mean to you and really to everyone that comes and races motocross?
Well, I just always had a great feeling when I came here. 4th of July weekend, every year, you just know when you come here that the fans are going to come out in droves, and there's a really special energy here. That's the first part of the equation. The second part is the racetrack. Over the years, it has just developed into one of the funnest places for the riders to race. And so all of that combined, you know, when you just add that in and mix it up, it just explodes out on the track. And we've had some legendary, fantastic racing here. Mother Nature played a part here today. The track's going to be a little bit wet earlier in practice. As the day goes on, it's going to dry out and get better, and then possibly a little more rain by the end of the day. But all in all, just a fantastic weekend. I mean, the fans have been going crazy all morning.
All right, it's going to be a fantastic race to cover, and help us with that, we have Aaron Bates down in the starting line with a Progressive pre-race report.
Blake Baggett may have never raced here at Red Bud before, but he came out swinging in that first moto. Blake, you took the victory there. What do you have in store for the second moto?
Same thing, just see what we can do, you know, just get a top 5 start and work our way from there. And hopefully it ends up on the top of the box at the end, but we'll just have to be patient, wait and see. I see they're throwing down a little bit of water, so it must have got dry during the girls' race, but see what happens.
Best of luck to you. And his teammate, Tyla Rattray, is making his way. Tyla ended up getting 5th place during that first moto. Tyla, you had a crash. Take us through how deceiving this track is and what you have to do to overcome it.
Yeah, it was pretty tough, you know. It's crashed in the second turn and came from last back to 5th, so felt good in the moto. Obviously going to try and make it easy on myself, get a good start and put myself in a good position to race for the win.
Best of luck. And last but definitely not least, Kyle Cunningham, who's keeping himself shaded. Kyle, hot and humid conditions out here. You're from Texas, though. Are you acclimated and are you ready for the second moto of the day?
Yeah, I think the first moto was a little bit hotter, but it's starting to feel a lot better out here. And we had a pretty good ride for 4th. Got a little bit tight there midway in the race, but managed to pick it back up the last few laps. So we felt good, and we're looking for that podium again today.
There's nobody here in this 250 field that has won the overall here at Red Bud, looking to make history today.
We're back at Red Bud here in Buchanan, Michigan, right on the Michigan-Indiana state line. Fans are fired up as we approach our second 250 moto. Why is it the second race? Well, we'll show you with our Motocross 411 breakdown. We run 2 motos every afternoon, 40 riders in each, and each race lasts 30 minutes plus 2 laps in duration. And we combine the results of the first race and the second to determine an overall winner for the day. Now, that's the format. We'll give you an idea what the track looks like with our Kawasaki track map. Jeff Emig, talk about Red Bud.
Oh, Red Bud is one of the greatest tracks. You know, it's one of the tracks that the riders really look forward to. Awesome soil, fantastic jumps. It's really challenging today because we had quite a bit of rain yesterday. made the track soft and ruddy in spots, especially in the first moto. Some of the off-camber turns were really challenging. And overall, the track, it's a lot of fun. Now that the temperatures are up over 100 degrees today, humidity's up there. It's really hot, track's dried out a little bit, and it's gonna be faster this moto than in the first one.
All right, that's what it looks like on the graphic. Let's give you what it looks like on the bike. Ryan Sipes going to cut some laps here with their GoPro Hero cam.
Yeah, and that was the first one of these really treacherous off-cambers. This is earlier today in qualified practice. You can see just how wet the track is. Here's another rider that's actually stuck in the mud. And in the first moto, those two off-camber turns were a real critical part of the moto. And Blake Baggett was actually able to use a new outside line and make some passes. But Ryan Sipes right here had a fantastic first moto, showing us the way around earlier today.
And we'll show you the highlights of that first moto. Drag race into the first turn, a bunch of Hondas up front early. It's going to be Justin Barcia on the 17, edging out his teammate Lance Vincent on the 245. So Barcia is in the lead.
Yeah, and then it was Dean Wilson, the first Kawasaki, starting to make his way around, see how he gets on the brakes, lets Vincent fly right by. That's for second.
Vincent's race would get worse in a hurry. Here he is in third, and then what do you say about that soft dirt?
He got stuck. He got his weight to the outside and lost a position there to Baggett.
Barcia's still leading, and then he goes over this jump, and what'd you say about that soft dirt?
Oh, not so soft when you hit it at that pace, and Barcia was wheeling away from the competition, pounds his fist into the sand there, really frustrated, giving up the win.
So Ryan Sipes, who had our helmet cam earlier in practice, inherits the lead from a downed Barcia. Battle is on for second. The 15 of Wilson, the 57 of Baggett. They both dig in. What'd you say about soft dirt?
Yeah, you tell me that is not a tough spot here, but Baggett wisely learns from the pass on Wilson and says, okay, I'll try the outside, and goes around Sipes.
Then Wilson attacks Sipes for the number 2 spot. Big mistake by Sipes at the beginning of this sand section allows the 15 to get by. So Dean Wilson up into the runner-up position, but Blake Baggett takes the Moto 1 win. He won both of them last time out in Colorado, so that's 3 Moto wins in a row. We'll see if he can keep it going here in Moto number 2. Riders are at the gate, and Dean Wilson got to be a little bit frustrated. He does have the red number plate for he is your series points leader, but you know he wants a win before this day is up. We'll see if he can get it. Bunch of other riders to watch for in this race. We want to give you the Rocky Mountain ATVMC.com keys to the race for the 245 of Lance Vincent.
Lance Vincent, there you see his mechanic there shouting out some last-minute inspiration, some orders, giving him the pep talk.
Okay.
He needs to get another good start. He's shown that if he starts up front, he can run up front inside the top 10. Show your speed. I think this kid has really got some serious speed, and once he starts up front, starts to believe in himself, that will just grow, and his confidence will grow.
Just one rider down from him, you see the number 31. That's Wil Hahn. We mentioned is back in action. That's Vincent's teammate. Hahn had a broken back in Supercross, and then when he healed from that, head to the practice track, crashed again, and broke his shoulder. So this is his first race of the year for the number 31. We'll see if the Hondas or the Yamahas, or really if anybody, can break up this string of victories for the Monster Energy Pro Circuit Kawasaki team. They are 1, 2, 3 in points. They've won all the races so far this year. They are on a roll any way you cut it.
Yeah, and you can see the track's pretty dry out through here, out the first part, but then it drops off about 50 feet out.
Geico Hondas have the start dialed again. That is a monstrous pole shot. They normally don't get out front that far, and it is indeed Wil Hahn. Welcome back to racing and leading here early at Redbud.
Jason, he was 3 bike lengths at least ahead. We had some riders down in turn 2. You see Tickle going by. He's buried mid-pack, and who knows went down.
Oh, Justin Barcia, apparently they did not have the bike running, and problems for the man who got the whole shot in our first moto today. He is not even able to get off the start in this race, but his teammate Wil Hahn is out front on the number 31.
Barcia was running 5th in points leading into this event.
Here comes Baggett and Wilson ganging up on Hahn. Baggett going to try to go to the lead early. It's going to be the outside here, Jeff.
Right around the outside.
Wow.
And notice they actually worked on these off cambers quite a bit. They brought the bulldozers and the heavy equipment out to fix it up, but Who are the two riders that are stepping up in this championship and just bringing the intensity? It's the 57 of Baggett, the 15 of Dean Wilson. And for Wilson, he's going to have to do something special because he can't try to rough him up as Baggett tries to come by like in Moto 1. He has to go out and show more speed, more fitness, and more desire, or the 57 is going to check out this moto.
And Hahn had that massive hole shot. They get to this part of the track. The fans are going to say what happened to him. He's already been pushed back to third because these Kawasaki riders, like you said, are on the gas.
Another great start for Vincent right here.
He's in fourth, 2:45. This kid is strutting his stuff because Wil Hahn being back now. Lance Vincent was essentially the replacement rider for all the injured talent on that Geico Honda team. So now that some of the riders are beginning to come back into action, Vincent's got to fight for his spot, and he's doing a good job right now in fourth.
Well, you see now that Vincent has got some time under his belt here with Geico Honda, starts are coming around. You can tell he's gelling with the motorcycle more, you know, that sort of chemistry that you have to have. And he's putting in some good rides, so comes across fourth, and then Rattray.
Wow, so Justin Barcia is already back to the hauler. The bike never started. They couldn't get it started, and maybe we'll see if Aaron Bates can get over there and get a word to find out what happened. But the man who led off the start in our first race earlier today did not even get off of the start in our second one. And how about this, Jeff? You said Dean Wilson's got to find the speed, the fitness, and all that, and he has. He is going after our leader, Blake Baggett. Meanwhile, Aaron has found Justin Barcia in the pits. Aaron, what's happening?
That's right, you guys. He's standing back here at the Geico hauler, actually just shaking right now with frustration. Justin, a rough day for you. Take us through what happened.
Yeah, you know, my bike just, it was running fine, sight lap, got back, bogged out. I don't know, something electronic, I'm assuming. Really rough day. Just going to go back this week and just, you know, try to get everything right. I want to win, so nothing I can do.
That's so frustrating. And for the Geico Honda team, they had Tomac go down earlier today in practice over Larocco's leap. He was taken to the hospital for observation, and it's Cunningham who was setting sixth just in points. He was 10 points behind Barcia coming into this race. Pass him in the first moto, and for sure now, so Barcia would have been kicked back outside of the top 5 in points.
Man, bad luck continues for that Geico Honda team. It's good to see Hahn and Vincent up there right now, but they've got company. Here comes Tyla Rattray, who finally has a decent start, and here he goes to try to get past Vincent, take over fourth, and he does.
Wow, so clean out of that off-camber turn. He drew such a tight line on Vincent there, and that's the thing about Rattray is that he rides just so perfect and so strict with his technique. And on a day like today where this track gets really rough and takes a lot out of you physically, he's very calm on the bike. He's very efficient. But let's look at Vincent here coming around the outside. Well, nothing doing.
Vincent has proven that he's not afraid of these guys. He will try to pass you back if he can. Behind him, we got, I believe, Cole Seeley on the Lucas Oil Troy Lee Honda. So a couple different Honda teams up there, but the Kawasaki boys are 1-2. Now it's Hahn versus Rattray for third.
Baggett comes by with a 2:16.1, Wilson a 2:16.9, Hahn a 2:18, and Rattray a 2:15.9, the fastest lap. Rattray is the fastest rider on the track right now. He wants to make this, instead of a Kawasaki duo, a trio up front, pretty much as it's been all season.
Yeah, I was going to say, we've seen that scenario several times. Now, a lot of people theorizing this is a good track for Rattray, and you seem to agree with that, the way you say his riding style and things like that work for a rough track like this.
Okay, he says that in Africa, South Africa, where he's from, that it's hot. It's Africa hot.
Okay.
And that this is not yet to that level. Wow, who knows? So maybe it's cold for
Hot
him.
enough for us Yanks, that's for sure. Baggett leading Dean Wilson, but it is close. It's going to be a good one. Battle is on. Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championship. Blake Baggett leading Dean Wilson. Their teammates, you'd expect them to be nice to each other out on the track, but if you're Dean Wilson and you've taken a whole bunch of second-place finishes this year, I don't think you want any of that anymore. He wants to go to the #1 spot, and he has closed back up on Baggett in an attempt to get it.
Dean Wilson is your points leader. No overalls this season. Baggett has 3.
And in that section, Baggett able to get away just a little bit. And then this next section, of course, wow. Wilson real fast through that left-hander, trying to close back up. So they both got sections of the track where they can pull away or gain on each other. And there you see the stat of Wilson. 4 times he has finished second in the first 5 races this year. He wants a W.
Well, as far as moto wins, Wilson's won 3 of them to Baggett's 6. But, you know, you want to be consistent, but these guys also want to win. And for Wilson, it would be, you know, the type of effort that he puts out, the type of training, how determined he is. It's frustrating to not come to the race and not win. But right now, he's got a perfect opportunity, 21 minutes plus 2 laps. And what he needs to do is pressure his teammate and just be relentless with it and try to wear him down.
Aaron is down with a very disappointed Darren Durham, who's out of this race. Aaron?
That's right, guys. He finished 6th during that first moto. Disappointment struck during the moto number 2. But Darren, can you tell us what happened out there?
Yeah, I got a really good start. I think I was like 3rd, and my bike started cutting out, and then it just slowly got worse, and it wouldn't even run after 2 laps, so I had to pull in. So I'm done for this one, but I'll be back next week.
That's right. You got a weekend off. Regroup. We'll see you back at Moto.
All right, bikes cutting out is the new fashion trend of motocross. Seems like every couple of laps we're talking to another rider that said his bike cut out. I don't know what the deal is.
I mean, all of the electronics and everything, the ECU and fuel injection parts and all that, everything is sealed. I don't know what the deal is on that, but it certainly has been an issue for these 250s in particular and across a couple or 2 or 3 different brands.
So here it is. Baggett continues to lead Wilson, but it's been a lot of races this year where once Baggett's gotten the lead, no one has been able to even keep pace. This time, Wilson is doing it. There's Nick Paluzzi on the left. Watch this.
Yeah, Nick Paluzzi, 72 on the yellow bike. Watch, he gets over the top right here. Oh, sorry. Oh, he gets a little wild there. Oh, and his left hand. He was planning on the bike sliding, and it caught. And he was riding with such light grip that when he did that, his weight went to the right, to the high side, and his left hand came off the bars. And then, of course, not so good from there. Wow, I hope he's all right. That looked like a pretty rough hit.
Well, people are going to immediately say, why would you ride one of these bikes and not grip the bike as hard as you possibly can? Explain why you would not.
Well, because it's we have what's called arm pump here in motocross, and if you just have a death grip on those handlebars and you're not breathing, your forearms actually pump up with blood. Then it gets hard for you to use your hands, your wrists don't bend, everything just kind of locks up. Then you can't use the throttle, the clutch, the front brake.
Here is Hahn in 4th, and now Kyle Cunningham, who has really become Mr. Consistency. He's been a top 5 runner in most of the motos this year. Is in the top 5 again and going for 4th. So he has gotten around Seeley. Yamaha Star Racing Team has had someone up there almost every race we've run this year. Cunningham's had a couple of good runs. Gareth Swanepoel has, their teammate. Gannon Audet, a rookie, and Ryan Sipes is back. Next battle, Cole Seeley and the number 20 of Broc Tickle. The big Larocco's lead, but they cannot get over this 3rd jump here on the 250s today.
Yeah, and it's frustrating right there, too, to do the double single, and then over the 3rd one, over the single, you kind of have to air it out, and you do that hard landing.
So 2 battles to watch. Seeley versus Tickle. That is 6th and 7th, and in front of them, Hahn and Cunningham. And don't forget, hey, we do have a battle for the lead. Wilson is giving Blake Baggett all he wants here in this 2nd moto. How's it going to break down between the 2 teammates? Who's going to take it today? Flavors and 19 countries worldwide. Still got a fantastic race going on here. 2nd moto of the 250 class at Redbud. Blake Baggett is doing everything he can to get away from Dean Wilson. He has put in a hot lap here at the halfway mark, and he is edging away just a little bit from his teammate. Meanwhile, Aaron Bates has a special guest who, as fast as Blake Baggett is going, is used to going even faster than this. Aaron, who do you got?
That's right, you guys. I'm here with JR Hildebrand, the IndyCar racer, number 4 of the National Dog Car. JR, you were so close to winning that Indy 500 this year, and you're out here still supporting all this. What's it like being here at your first Motocross National?
Yeah, it's cool. We get to a lot of Supercross races, but it's my first outdoor, so it's cool to see a little more kind of the grassroots. You really see the how physical it is for these guys and stuff. So I'm living down in kind of close by Indianapolis, and it's a really good opportunity to come check it out.
Any chance we're going to see, you're eating some roost out here, any chance we'll see you hang up IndyCar and come race moto?
I don't know about that, man. Like, these guys have been at it for a long time. They look like they're really trucking out there. So I gotta keep doing what I'm doing and let these guys hang on to the dirt.
Always a pleasure having you here. Thanks a lot.
As disappointing as that was, not holding on and crashing on the last lap, still a great story. You know, he's new to the sport basically at that level and a new team, so expect that name to be around and IndyCar racing for a long time, and expect this name to be around as well. He's kind of our little J.R. Hildebrand. Second year as a pro, winning a whole bunch of races, and guess what, Jeff? He has dropped the hammer, as he likes to say, and he's pulling away.
Yeah, and just before the break, Wilson had closed up, had turned some better lap times than Baggett. Last lap around, we're halfway through this one. Baggett turned a 2:13.5. He went out and blew the fastest time away that anyone's even put down this moto, and Wilson was at a 2:15.4, so Baggett was 2 seconds a lap quicker. Problem that Wilson has is now Rattray here, his teammate who sets in third, was a half a second faster than him last lap also. So things starting to get real interesting here for Dean Wilson.
Yeah, Wilson may have more company from Rattray than he is close to his teammate Baggett. And at that halfway mark, Baggett has said that that's where he really starts to put in the fast laps, and that's exactly what he did here. Now, Rattray's also a guy who's always strong late in the race. Not that Wilson's known for fading, but you just don't like to have that number 28 bearing down on you in the second half of a motocross race. This guy's tough.
Yeah, he definitely has the MO of being a hard worker, a trainer, a guy that just keeps pounding out the laps. He's relentless, never gives up, all of those qualities that it takes to win on a day like today. And Rattray had to come from behind a little bit first moto, is doing a similar ride here in Moto 2, but he got a much better start.
Kyle Cunningham in the number 4 spot on the DNA Shred 6 Star Racing Yamaha, all alone back there in fourth, but he had to work hard to get that position. He has gotten past a couple of riders, Seeley and Hahn, to get there. Broc Tickle trying to follow him through. So Cunningham is 4th, Hahn 5th, Tickle 6th, Seeley 7th.
See his mechanic there putting on the board, 20 minutes to go, plus 2 laps, and to be smooth. So when you come through the pit board area, you know, usually you have it worked out with your mechanic about what's going to be on the board, whether it's a lap time thing and you're challenging your own lap time. Let's say here for Wil Hahn, he's turning a 2:19. So, you know, maybe his target lap time of what he could do, you know, would be a 2:18. Okay, so he knows he's either plus or minus from that 2:18, or maybe it's words of encouragement and positive thoughts.
Here is Tickle, who has ridden well at times this year, but the standards are set very high considering his 3 teammates are running 1, 2, 3. He is in 6th, trying to get top 5, go after Hahn. Well, next is Seeley. No, Seeley's on the right. He's been passed by the Rockstar Suzuki man, Martin Davalos, kid out of Ecuador, putting the number 23 bike up into 7th. So that will push Seeley on the Lucas Oil Troy Lee Honda back to 8th. Davalos had a couple of good motos as of late. Had some mechanical troubles at our last race at Denver, but he's been a top 5 guy, or top 10 guy, sorry, in most of the races this year.
Yeah, and I did not expect to see Seeley have a ride like this. I expected him to kind of push forward. He definitely has the speed like that this season, but who knows, maybe this heat here and the humidity, we heard it was close to 105 degrees, super humid leading into it, but also looking at Malcolm Stewart here, 139, after a mechanical problem, DNF the first moto.
Yeah, he said he'd be back here strong in Moto 2, and he is. And Stewart is 9th. Nico Izzi is 10th. Yes, he is. And Izzi, originally from Michigan, does a lot of riding and training all over the country in the warmer climate, but he's got a lot of friends and family out here, and they got to be happy to see him up in the top 10. Baggett continues to lead Wilson and Rattray. Got a race-ready Kawasaki here. Blake Baggett on the number 57, leading, and he is getting kicked all over the place on this rough track, but he takes it all in stride, heads over to Larocco's leap, takes 2 of the 3 jumps. There's a 3rd jump there. 250's not able to get over that, but he's been able to conquer everything else. Had some pressure from his teammate Dean Wilson, and then he just decided to turn it up.
Yeah, and as far as, you know, Larocco's leap, it earned its name when Mike Larocco was riding a 125, which is the 250 class nowadays.
Yeah.
But way back in 1991, you could make that jump. that triple jump on 125, but it wasn't nearly as long. It wasn't nearly as steep and nearly as tall. But it still was a leap back in the days. They've stretched it out to 130 feet. Wow. To jump, it's like jumping over a 5-story building.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, these are some of the best riders in the world and some of the most well-tuned machines, but these 250s still cannot get over that big jump. Baggett, 8.7 seconds is the lead over Wilson, and he actually got a rare good start in this moto, but not the best start. Watch his progressive whole shot replay. Take us through this, Jeff.
Watch on the right of your screen. That's Wil Hahn, Geico Honda, and he's way out front. And way out front. As he comes around turn 2, he was 3 bike lengths ahead of the next bike. Just, I mean, so determined, so dialed in off of that start. That was just incredible.
Wilbur's back to 5th now, but I want to ask you, what kind of confidence would it take to come off the couch? He had not raced in 6 months due to injuries, to think, I'm going to try to get this started. I'm going to try to run the pace and try to do this.
Either that,
and not
or
just cruise.
Either that or a sense of urgency, like, hey, I'm not in the shape I need to be in. If I don't get the whole shot, you know, I'm going to be buried way in the pack. But Wil Hahn's putting in a great ride. Just unbelievable to be 5th in this moto. He was 8th in Moto 1. And he hasn't raced all year.
Well, the team needs him back. They have been beset with injuries, and we'll give you an idea. They just dealt with another one today. Eli Tomac over that Larocco's leap earlier today. Watch this.
Yeah, watch. He lands off of the leap here, and he's doing a 2-1. And it was really muddy earlier today in practice, and he kind of scrubbed the first 2. Front wheel washed out on him a little bit, as you've seen, and he hit the mat pretty hard.
And Aaron has Eli Tomac down to the pits. Aaron?
Eli just watched that on the screen, but Eli, it almost looks to the viewers at home that you were just practicing some freestyle motocross out there. All seriousness, you did go away in the ambulance and you got checked out. What is the diagnosis and how are you feeling?
I'm really lucky that nothing's broken, just kind of beaten and battered. You know, I'll definitely be back next or at Millville. So really it's just go back home and recover and get ready for the next round.
Is this the point of the season where this break, this 1-week break, comes at the perfect time?
Yeah, it'll be nice to have a weekend off because I'll be feeling that crash. But I'm just really lucky that nothing seriously went wrong.
Well, Tomac was the next closest rider in points to this Kawasaki trio is dominating this series. Scratch him from title contention. Blake Baggett going to try to take it home. This July, baseball's biggest stars will gather together in the Arizona desert for one spectacular night. It's the summer's biggest event, and Fox brings you every thrilling moment. It's the 2011 Major League Baseball All-Star Game. Coverage begins Tuesday, July 12th, live from Phoenix, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific, only on Fox.
You an AL guy or an NL?
AL
Which
guy.
side? AL
guy.
American League. All right.
Yeah, we'll see. They had a nice streak going for a little while. Here is the number 20 of Broc Tickle. He had some momentum, little streak going. He had won the Supercross title on the West Coast before the outdoor tour here began. But he's been good, but not quite as good as his teammates in this outdoor series. Had 1 podium finish in a moto, had a 3rd. Right now he's in 5th. That would be good ordinarily, but his teammates, Baggett, Wilson, and Rattray are doing it again. They are 1, 2, 3. While we were away, he did get around Wil Hahn, though, to move up to 5th.
Yeah, and the math here for Tickle, after that 7th, the first moto, sets 5th right now. It's looking likely that he will add another top 5 overall to the 2 that he already has. And it's a pretty solid ride. But as you can see, most of this season, Tickle has just not got the starts that he's needed to run up front.
A little bit further back here is a battle. Got Gareth Swanepoel in the 387 on the left, the Yamaha, and the 46 of AMA, Alex Martin, who will literally be the home track specialist the next time we race at Millville, Minnesota, because his parents own that track. Here at Redbud, he's just trying to hold off Swanepoel, and they are in a battle for 12th and 13th. Swanepoel has had a couple of good races this year.
Yeah,
got to be happy with some 4th places.
Yeah, but that 17th, the first moto, not getting it done. He had to ride from pretty far back.
And Martin, I believe, was out with some problems in that first one, so it's a good bounce back for both of these riders here. And they are putting on a great race, and that's what's exciting about this 250 class, Jeff. You can look all over the racetrack. These two are battling for 12th. You think they're battling for the lead the way they're hammering each other.
Yeah, but look at Martin here. He's had such good rides this season, and you could tell that just, you know, the chemistry between him and his bike, everything's just kind of working better than what it has so far, and he's really showing his true potential.
Now, what's great about racing here at Redbud is we mix in the excitement of motocross and the fun of Independence Day weekend. So we decided to ask some of our 250 riders about their best memories of July 4th.
Most memorable 4th of July moment would have to be a few years ago. I was at Tedder's 4th of July party, and we're all on the beach, and then all of a sudden some little plane landed right there in the water, you know, like maybe 50 feet offshore, one of the ones that tows those signs over the beach. And it didn't hit anybody, but it was pretty sweet to see a little plane sitting in the water with like hundreds of people around it, and that would probably have to be my best 4th of July moment.
I would have to say my most memorable 4th of July moment. You know, I don't really do much, but usually you go down to like Huntington Beach or something, and they have like a pretty sick fireworks show that night, so it's usually the coolest thing to do.
Yeah, my most memorable 4th of July moment would be in 09. We were all racing, the whole team. It was last lap, and I was doing Morocco's leap every lap, and Mehdi was only doubling it. I ended up passing him on the last lap and getting on the podium, so that's probably my most memorable moment here at Redbud on the 4th of July.
My most memorable 4th of July moment, Redbud 2008, whole shot the first moto, led about half of it, ended up getting third. It was my first outdoor podium. It was a good 4th of July.
And that's the mix that we're talking about. For most people, you know, 4th of July, it's all about hot dogs, apple pie, and fireworks, things like that. But here we mix in the motocross element.
Firecracker blowing up in your hand, the fuse goes off, all that fun stuff. I mean, right here is the firecracker. This guy's on fire. He is dominating it. Halfway through the moto, looked like Wilson had something for him.
Yep.
Now with 3 to go, out front, 9.6 second lead, about a second faster than Wilson, who is in second. And surprisingly, Rattray has backed off the pace, and he had closed up on the back of Wilson. But once again, Mitch Payton and Monster Energy Kawasaki and the whole crew and Bones and all the mechanics and technicians and everybody there just showing all the hard work that this team does consistently year after year. This is the team that is the benchmark of the 250 class. And if it wasn't for Cunningham running 4th right now, which Tickle's right on him, but before this thing's over, it could change. But man,
and they've bounced back a bit last year outdoors. Trey Kennard out of Geico Honda was able to win this championship, and then Justin Barcia won the East Coast Supercross Championship, and Eli Tomac had a shot at the West Coast Championship, and it looked like the Geico team was about to turn the tide of momentum and championships in their direction, but it has changed quickly here in this Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championship. There is absolutely no doubt which team is the dominant force right now, and you're right, they could be 1, 2, 3, 4 before this one is over.
Yeah, and since Mitch started his race team, I believe it was 91, he's enjoyed a tremendous amount of success. But there was a year or two here and there where he didn't. And it was really surprising, and he was able to get things together and get, you know, back on the map and back up there. But that's why you just never know. And every victory, every moto victory, every overall, every championship, even if you think that you're going to have a Ricky Carmichael type career and have 150 wins and yada, 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 that's one thing that I appreciated about Ricky, especially in the latter part of his career. Even though he had won so much, you could tell he was just savoring each and every one of them because he knew that it was really special.
And this is not the first time that this team has had teammates battling for race wins and maybe a championship. And you'd think things get tense under there, but I was talking to some people this morning, and they made a great point. There he is, Mitch Payton on the left, perfect. He is the star of that team. The team owner, the guy that runs this operation, there's no doubt who #1 is there. You're still on Mitch Payton's team. No one is bigger than that Pro Circuit team. So no matter what these guys do, we've seen some great Battle Team teammates on this squad in the past. You go back a few years ago, Ben Townley, Ryan Villapoto. Well, they battled every moto, and they were best friends all summer long. Mitch doesn't let anyone on his team get any unfair advantage over anyone else.
And Mitch has twin boys, right? So 16 years from now, is he have, I mean, I don't know. I'm just saying.
He's got plenty of room on the team. He's got 4 bikes every year, so maybe. Here is Blake Baggett. That's Mitch's boy right now. And he's headed toward the white flag. And there was a challenge from Wilson, but not happening. Wilson about 9 seconds back. So we're calling him El Chupacabra Normally because he starts in the back and then just starts to strike. And he strikes so quickly, these guys don't even see him. I mean, once he sets you up for a pass, it's over. This time around, Wilson did get a look at the Chupacabra for about 15 minutes, and then he disappeared. Once again, Blake Baggett has speed that no one can match, and we literally saw him turn it up in the second half of this race.
Yeah, and the one thing that is separating these riders, you know, each one of these guys is putting out a tremendous effort. They all want to win, have desire, determination. They all work hard. It's flow, and Blake Baggett has just had more flow than everyone else. He's just, you know, he's rolling through the turns at just a click faster, and there's so many turns on the track. You add that all up, it ends up being a second a lap or a couple seconds a lap, okay? And so he just seems to have a little bit more speed in that situation. And I'm telling you, for Dean Wilson, he's your points leader, but frustrated because he's putting out a tremendous effort. I've spoke to Dean, and I know how much he wants to win. Consistency is good at this point, but unless you can win these motos, it's going to be tough to win the championship here at the end of the summer.
He's going to gain 6 points on Wilson with this. It's 20 points behind him coming in, so it'll only be a 14-point differential, and Rattray will be right there in between them. You keep riding like this second half of the year, you can make up a whole bunch of points. But you got to wonder, with the speed that he runs, Jeff, Wilson and Rattray have in the back of their mind, well, maybe he'll just crash away. We've seen him have a couple of bad motos this year. Or has he figured this thing out?
He doesn't look like to me that he's riding anywhere near, you know, the edge, like past the point, like he's doing anything erratic where it's like, oh my God, he's just crazy out there on the bike. He's this crazy speed. He looks so in control. And I mean, he's very close with Ryan Villopoto. He grew up, you know, Ryan Villopoto stayed with him and his family. A lot of, you know, similarities there. And that would be bad news for everybody else because Villopoto was 3-time champion, 3 in a row. Same team, same bike. And so far, same result.
Yeah, same result. And you know what that is. Another win for Blake Baggett. Second weekend in a row. He goes 1-1. Sweeps both motos. Another strong charge by Dean Wilson. He will finish second again. Maintains the points lead. That's good, but he wants a victory. Blake Baggett has another win in the Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championship. This Rockstar energy drink, Redbud National, is his. That's his mom there on the left. Kawasaki PR girl Ashley on the right. Just walk by him. We'll show you exactly how he got this win with our Lucas Oil race recap. Started out terribly for Barcia. In fact, it didn't start at all. Couldn't get the bike started after the sight lap.
Yeah, he made the sighting lap, and then it started cutting out. Another bad moment here was for Nick Paluzzi. He goes down hard just before LaRocco's leap.
Good moments. Meanwhile, for some others, we mentioned that Baggett was up front. He had some pressure from his teammate, Dean Wilson, for the first half of this 30-minute and 2-lap moto. But at the second half, Baggett turned up the speed, put in a 2-minute, 13-second lap time that no one could match, pulled away, and got the victory. And now he is down on the podium with Aaron Bates. Aaron?
Back-to-back wins for Blake Baggett. Blake, you wrecked your superstition that you had going. You managed to pull it together this weekend. What does that do for you mentally moving forward?
Yeah, no, every other's over now. Now let's try to make it every one from here on out. It's a lot to ask, but I think that if I be smart and ride smooth, I can do it. But I got to give it up to my team, Monster Energy, Pro Circuit, Kawasaki, Thor, Parts Unlimited, Vans, Alpine Star, Volcom, Vans, Scott, Dunlop, Traxxas, RC Cars, SoCal Super Trucks for hooking up my truck, my mom, my dad, my trainer, Alden Bacon, and Keeley. Thanks.
Another win for Blake Baggett. And we'll show you the races that he's going to try to win next with our Toyota upcoming schedule. Take a weekend off. We'll be back at Spring Creek in Millville, Minnesota. We'll have our 250 class coverage 6 p.m. on Speed. Then Washougal, Washington, we're going to have live coverage on Speed there on July 23rd. A couple more weekends off, and then we're back at New Berlin, New York, the legendary Unadilla Valley Sports Center, 9 p.m. Your coverage on Speed, and Southwick, Massachusetts, the Sand Track, August 27th, 11 p.m. Eastern, your coverage on Speed. So Saturday motocross rolls on, and that's your Toyota moving forward schedule. We'll be back with more from Redbud after this. We'll talk to some more riders up on the podium, and we'll ask them if they can figure out some way to stop El Chupacabra, who's got another win. Welcome back. Fans have gathered around the podium area for the victory celebration at this Rockstar Energy Drink Red Bud National, part of the Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championship. Here are your results from our second 250 moto, which we just finished. 1, 2, 3 for the Kawasaki's, Baggett, Wilson, Rattray. Kyle Cunningham prevented it from being a 1, 2, 3, 4 Kawasaki sweep by holding off Broc Tickle down the stretch. Let's send it down to Aaron Bates, who has our runner-up. Aaron?
Dean Wilson just said, I have been in this situation too many times, too many second overalls. So the question to you, Dean, is what else is it going to take to come out of here on that #1 spot?
Oh, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I've had a lot of seconds, and I feel like I've been riding well. You know, Blake's he's just got a little bit more than I do, and it's something that I'm going to have to work towards. You know, I'm staying consistent, which is good, you know, for a championship, but at the same time, I need the speed to get some wins. And I've had moto wins, but no overall wins. But like I said, Blake rode awesome. Couldn't do it without the whole Monster Energy Pro Circuit, Kawasaki, Thor, Dunlop, Hearts Unlimited, Scott, Toyota Escondido, Volcom Vance, Mechanic Paul, Sam, my mom and dad. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Here's the overall results combining the first race and the second. The kids up front make the math easy. 2 first, 2 seconds. That's first and second. Rattray rallies back to take third overall. Another consistent day for Cunningham, holding off Tickle in the overall as well. Let's go back down to Aaron. Aaron?
Rougher, the tougher the track is, the more you seem to excel, and that was the case here again today, Tyla. How was it?
Yeah, it was pretty tough, you know. I made it hard on myself in that first race going down in the second turn, and had to come from last to fifth. But just want to thank the guys from Monster Energy Pro Circuit, Kawasaki, Potsdam and Thor, Vance, Volcom, my wife, my mom, my dad Wayne, and yeah, it was definitely tough for me. You know, I struggled a bit out there, and come back to Florida this week, and next week I'll be back in California, do some testing, and get ready for mobile.
Got a lot to talk about here in this 250 class. Totally different styles between Wilson, Baggett, and Rattray, and they all seem to meet in the middle. As far as the points go, Jeff, it is close.
It definitely is. You can see Cunningham 95 back. Of course, Barcia and Tomac really took a hit today by having the bad motos that they did, but Cunningham right there hanging on.
But if you're Wilson and Rattray, you were hoping that Baggett would not be able to recreate that speed every week. He had been in every other race winner. Now he's won 2 straight. They got a weekend off to try to figure it out and match his speed the next time we go racing in Minnesota. Hope you can join us there. For Aaron Bates and Jeff Emig, I'm Jason Wygant. Thanks for watching our coverage of the 250 class from Red Bud, and congrats to our winner, Blake Baggett.